Okay, so welcome back to the Better by Next Week podcast. This week, we have got a really special episode. We have just come back. We've actually stepped off the course at the Last Legend about an hour and a half ago. So you might be able to smell us through the microphones. But we thought, what better way to talk about the event than actually doing it straight after we've just stepped off the course.
We're giving the people what they want.
Yeah, that's
trust
right.
me, when I finished, the last thing I was thinking was this podcast. I thought, surely this is an exception to not do it tonight.
No, but we promise our listeners that every Monday morning it comes out.
Yeah.
It is Sunday, 9:30. So I am going to edit this thing. I am going to make sure that it's exactly how it should be for everyone in the morning.
And let's talk about Dad's achievement as well today, I think.
All right. Do you want to start? Is that what you want to start with?
I want to start off with Dad's achievement.
Okay, we'll leave the better stuff to the end. But yes, so we both actually we'll talk about what Last Legend is. So me and Ollie, for anyone that hasn't been following along, Ollie and I headed down to
Woodlands, I believe.
Woodlands Historic Park, and we competed in an event called the Last Legend by Trails Plus, and it was something we'd not done before. So we were doing the all new review, which is going to be coming out next week. But we actually raced Last Legend, and what it is it's a last man standing with diminishing time.
Yeah, so you do a 2.5 kilometer loop, which starts at half an hour, and then it drops to 25 minutes, and then
after two loops.
After two loops, and then it goes every second loop, it'll drop by 1 minute. So today it got to about 10 minutes on one of them, which ended up winning, and then. Yeah, it was tough because you think it's not that bad. 2.5K is 10 minutes, but you have so many Ks
by the time the winner got to doing 10 minutes, 2.5Ks in 10 minutes, they had already done 82.5 kilometers.
Yeah.
So like we started out, it was pretty easy. I actually quite enjoyed it. We jogged, we walked, we chatted, we got back, we had 15 minutes rest, we had some we took some fuel on board, and then we headed back out. And then it just slowly got worse and worse. It's like boiling a frog in water, but doing it a lot quicker. Similar to a backyard ultra.
Yeah, very similar to a backyard ultra. You say like it got worse and worse, but I almost found the opposite in some ways. In some aspects, it was better because my pain was justified. But you're right. Along. You're right because
I you know what I found with the event? I actually found it was super easy at the start, but I couldn't find a rhythm.
Incredibly easy. You guys know how slow
is. And I found that it was so easy that I actually couldn't find a rhythm and a pace. And then somewhere in the middle, I actually found myself running at like a 5:30 pace and enjoying it. And I finally said to myself, I've opened up a little bit, because often we don't train at those kinds of paces, that 6:30, 7-minute paces, and muscles were starting to get sore, and you're still out there. You're on your feet the whole time. So,
but you know what else is beautiful about it is we say it was easy because we're obviously a little bit more experienced, but some people might have found it hard. And I found that the actual event is a great one-day event where it's not like a backyard ultra where you're out there for days sometimes, but it's a great opportunity to step away from the backyard ultra scene and compete and still find your limit. Like this is your out there, unless you turn back, obviously, but you're timing out on every single lap, basically, when you're going to quit.
Yeah.
I think it's incredible.
Yeah, it's almost like a backyard ultra on steroids. The action happens really, really quickly, and like I was almost looking forward to it. And the bit that you look forward to is the last 10 or 15 Ks, because that's when it starts to get really hard. But just like a backyard ultra, it was only 2.5 Ks. So you start saying to yourself, you know what, I can actually do 2.5 Ks at 5:30 pace. I'm okay here. But what you don't realize is that you've just done 60 kilometers of running, and you've been out there for 8 or so hours. And it got hard, but it was so much fun towards the end of the race to be able to find everyone's kind of pushing that little bit harder, and no one's walking anymore. Everyone's
I was walking a little
Oh,
bit,
you were walking up little bits. You were getting a rest because you're running pretty fast in bits. But yeah, I found it was super fun. It was such a good event, and I thought when I woke up in the morning, I thought this is going to be great because I'm going to be home in the afternoon. Not I'm going to be out here for 3 days, and for our crews who were amazing. That was the difference for me and Ollie today. Both of us had excellent races, but that was the difference. My wife Rachel and my daughter Misha, without those two guys, and even the race director Brett referenced it right at the end. He said, "You guys, the biggest difference for you guys is your crew." Because we were coming in, they had our in and out boxes, they had our gels, they had our nutrition in our water bottles, they had our sunscreen, they had
I
our
might even put a couple
salt.
links as well in the description and
Yeah,
whatnot.
yeah,
On
we've got
YouTube,
a
if
heap
you're a
of
YouTube listener, we'll have some links in the
yeah,
description and
we'll even pop
Instagram.
up. I'll pop up some videos of them crewing us, and it's amazing. They work like clockwork. And on top of that, for the people that did follow on Instagram, my wife Rachel, for the first time ever, did all our social media stuff. And there was things going on where Instagram didn't want
Hold
to
on, hold on.
post up.
Can
And
I do something really special right now? I'm
what,
gonna hop out of my chair.
what's that? What are you gonna do?
Might. I don't know which one it is.
What's that?
The applaud.
Oh, well, you can't push the applaud button.
No, I'll do it.
You won't
Oh
even
wait, no,
know.
I know. It says. It says.
Oh, does it? Push the applaud button. Yeah, that's the applause button. We'll give the applause. How about we always give the applause button to? You can sit back now. I think now
Yeah.
we'll always give the applause button to when Mum and Mish help us out because they're the people behind the scenes that make this podcast go round and around. Essentially, we're the ones that jump on here and chat. They're the ones making sure that we can jump on here and chat.
Yeah.
But they were amazing, and we've mentioned crew in the past on the podcast, but today it was crazy. Like, normally at most of our events, they've either got 4 or 5 hours in between aid stations to look after us, or they have at least an hour or 45 minutes at a backyard ultra. Today wasn't so bad at the start because they had 30 minutes, then another 30 minutes, then it was down to 25. But by the end, when they only had we were coming in every 13 minutes. Mum was recording stuff, posting stuff to keep people updated. She was tagging some of our brand partners for the all new review. And then Misha was getting all our stuff ready. And yeah, it was tough.
I'll give Mish some brownie points because she deserves it so much. As she was thrown into it right after 9 weeks of hanging out with her mates on a camp. So
Yeah,
she
so
went on this camp straight away, thrown into it, and she did amazing. Really coped with it well.
And it's hard. Like, I mean, we've got, Mum and Mish have always crewed us, but this was a completely different thing. Ollie's chugging on his Macca's thick shake though. That was his snack of choice after the
And
event.
some chicken nuggies.
That finished an hour and a half ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you got your chicken nuggets as well. Get the protein in. Hey, and you've got that special cup. So
Yeah, this is pretty
there's
special.
only one Caprazak that's got a cup like that, and that's the last legend. And let's talk about the last legend standing. Who was it? It was you. You managed to win the race, and it was one of the most amazing performances that I've ever witnessed. I watched you win at Maroondah Dam, and I know you're super humble and stuff, but it was crazy to watch because I got front row seats pretty much to the whole thing unfolding because I was running with you, I was watching the other competitors, I was watching the mind games because it was accelerated because everything was happening so quickly and it was so much fun to watch. And what was your
I
experience?
found this a lot more high pressure circumstances, especially when I was coming in with 30 seconds to a minute just to get some water on my head. You would notice if you were watching along, it was like every hour, not hour, I'm too busy talking backyard returns. Every lap we came in, like I would pour a whole bottle of 600 ml water on my head every single time. It got hot. I was just trying to stay cool, but that was such high intensity. I want to ask you a question. Did you enjoy watching Maroondah Dam more? Because of those who don't know, at Maroondah Dam was very close between first, second, and third. So I came out with the win. second was like 2 minutes behind me, and then third was 5 minutes behind me, and it was very changing positions throughout the whole race. So
This was a lot more fun to watch. It was a hell of a lot of fun to watch. I just want to go back to your point about you talking about it being hot. One thing I didn't realize what was going to happen today was how hot it was actually going to get. So it was only 21 degrees, which was fine. It wasn't that hot, but the increased pace and intensity that was required towards the end of this race actually changed how hot you got. And every loop I was coming in, and it was ridiculous because we were coming in every 15 or so minutes, and I'm there pouring water on myself every
we
15
looked like,
minutes.
who are these bogans over here? Because no
know.
one else was really doing anything.
Oh, but I had to cool myself down quickly. I went to ice baths, and I'm like, it's only 21 degrees.
Yeah, that sun took a beating on us. Paddo, Backyard Ultra. Great podcast. We make jokes about the sun being like laser beams.
Yeah, like laser beams. Because I remember when he did his live stream of Decal Gully, he kept on. That was the only description that he had of the sun, and it was like a laser beam. But yeah, we actually got a little bit sunburned as well.
Have a look on the camera. You can actually see. I was having a laugh before.
Yeah. Did you put sunscreen on?
On my shoulders, I think
Yeah.
Mum did. I didn't personally put it on, but
Yeah, I put sunscreen on a couple of times because it's important. Even on a 20-degree day, it was important.
Yeah.
But we'll get back to your performance. Yeah, it was so much fun to watch. Especially right at the end. So I dropped out. So we'll
Dad's
announce it.
performance is kind of lurking in the shadows. I'm super proud of you.
Oh, thanks,
Like
mate.
genuinely, I was so proud of you. I really want you to get through to that next lap. But
Yeah.
but I saw you. You were pushing.
I
and
missed out. I think it was on lap 30. I think I missed out. I missed out on lap 30 by, I think it was like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
You guys were just leaving the corral, and I was just coming. I was pushing so hard, but my legs, the fatigue in my legs was just too much. It was just a build up, obviously, over the whole day. I think I managed to get 75 kilometers in, which I was pretty happy with.
That's the thing, right? Considering Dad did King of the Hill not so long ago, 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, then you raced on King of the Hill last week,
Yeah.
which your quads were still pretty banged up afterwards. And you haven't had a very good training. Like, what kind of mode are you in right now?
I'm not in recovery mode. I'm not in detraining
Well, you're in
mode.
recovery mode right now.
I'm gonna have a week off, I think.
Yeah.
But no, for me it was a really tricky event. But I love the people that I was running with. There was a lot of people that come up to us from the podcast and saying, "Hey, look, we love the podcast." And I'm like, oh, and I got to chat with a lot of these people. I actually had a really nice chat with a few people in regards to how they, like, because I asked them what have they been doing, and a few of them said, I've done this race and I've done that race, and they were actually a bit down on themselves, and I'm like, oh, you do realize that there's so many learnings from those events, and yeah, I had some really nice conversations. Liam Henderson, we ran a heap of loops with him. He was looking super strong for so long, but it's one of those events that it just wears you down. And if you don't have a kick towards the end of it, like I just felt like I was running, and when I got myself to a nice pace and I was doing that 5-minute, 5:30-ish pace, and I said to myself, I'm going to stay at this point. But I knew at some point that the time clock is going to catch me. It was chasing me from behind, and it's coming. And then it came, and then I had to step it up and obviously start doing 5-minute Ks for 2 laps. Managed to do that, and then, obviously missed the last one by 5 seconds. But, I was pretty happy with my race, where I'm at physically and stuff. I'm super pumped. I had a lot of fun, and it was really cool, like, watching the last 10 of us just to try and beat the clock. And we're all only getting in by like a minute or 2 minutes. We were like in the death zone that they call it in Backyard Ultras. We were there for ages, but it was really cool. I quite enjoyed it.
It was an interesting thing because we came with such high amounts of time before it got hard.
Yeah.
And it was almost like you just had to stay cool, calm, and collected in those situations, coming in with a minute. And in that situation, it was like a minute's a long time. A minute's a long time to get in there, pour water on your head. Like I was going into the race thinking we were just going to run and run and run and run, and there was going to be no breaks when it got harder.
Yep.
But you would find that it's almost like you just needed that minute, just a minute, and it changes. And I think a lot of people in backyard ultras who might have a look at this event take a little bit away from it because it shows all you need is a minute.
Yeah.
All you need is a minute because you just pour some water on your head, get your salt tab in, get your gel, get your bottle, you're off again.
I even managed to get the massage gun out for like 30 seconds at a time on a few of those last loops. Misha gave me the massage gun and it was like maybe 15, 20 seconds on one hammy, 15, 20 seconds. I was starting to tighten up a bit and it was even enough for that. It actually gives me a lot of confidence moving forward into backyard ultras where I, used to think that if I come in with only 5 minutes to spare, I was done. But now it gives me a better understanding that you actually don't need that much time.
There is a bit of a trade-off though because this event is maximum 10 to 11 hours, whereas a backyard ultra, I would not advise you to be running. Obviously, if that's the only thing you can do and you're just grinding away at it, chipping in the pain cave, don't run for 59 minutes when you're very deep and trying to get some sleep. I would always bank sleep.
Oh, what's that for a backyard ultra?
Yeah. So this is obviously different, but
well, you don't need to sleep. You don't need to sleep, and it's purely a physical thing. This event, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
Like I didn't get the I didn't feel like I was like, oh, I'm really like it was just all physical. Did you find that?
You didn't head out and like with the backyard ultra, it's like, minimum 40 to an hour. It's 6.7 Ks. It seems like a slog, whereas it's 2.5 Ks. You get to 1.25 Ks and you're like, what the hell?
It's
Why am I halfway?
Dude, what do you think about like all these new last man standing events are popping up? So you've got like obviously Backyard Ultra was kind of the original. Then you've got King of the Hill, which is a newer one, which is a little less distance, more elevation. And then now you've got these 1 day last man standing coming up like Trails Plus, Brett from Trails Plus. When I finished, I went up to him. I go, I think you've really nailed it. I think you've nailed the perfect 1 day last one standing event that's inclusive of everyone. So someone that wants to do 5K, and he was really cool. Remember when we asked him, because we ended up staying there the night before, we asked him, oh, how many people have you got signed up? And it was like 200 people signed up. But you could go for 5 laps, or you could go for 10 laps. So you could sign up to go for a half marathon or a marathon, or go the whole hog, which is what we did.
Yeah, he's found something.
Yeah.
He's definitely found something. And if you're looking, and it's pretty daunting looking at backyard ultras, the limits people find, like you look at Phil Gore, can't even find his limit at 119 hours.
Yeah.
This is a great way to find a limit because at the end, 10 minutes is 4-minute kilometers. And you think, or I thought initially, it's like, okay, it's 4-minute Ks. It shouldn't be too bad. But it's the Ks and the legs that really get you. And I felt like I ended up dropping a 3-minute 32 kilometer in the end just to be able to average it out under 4 minutes. And yeah, I just think it's great if you don't want to. Backyard ultras take a massive toll on you mentally. Yeah. This is a 1 day thing.
Yeah.
It's actually funny because I went to Dad before the race and we weren't packing the horse float.
No, for a change, we didn't have to pack the horse float with all our crap.
I'm like, did that just take us an hour and a half? Just pack all our stuff? Like, surely not. And we still took a fair bit, but it's
we had all our all new review stuff too. So.
Yeah, that's what made it more enjoyable as well. Like the all new review.
We'll cover. We'll keep tuned for next week's episode because there's so much content about the all new review.
Yeah,
but it actually goes to show. I almost felt like we were on an episode of Mythbusters. Do you know what Mythbusters is?
I've heard of it, but I'm not.
Yeah. So what they would do, they would have like a scientific myth. and they would try and bust it and say whether it was really a myth or whether it was actually
Well,
true.
yeah, I've seen a couple of
Yeah.
running things.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think they have any. They don't normally.
Not like with maybe Mythbusters, but
Oh, okay.
I've heard the term of people trying to break
That's right.
myths.
So I reckon this is the only little bit of insight about our next week episode that I'll give. But I almost felt like we were part of an episode of Mythbusters trying to break the myth of whether you can get away with racing with all new stuff and seeing how you'll perform, whether you can perform. And I think I might have finished in the top 10 and
well and truly.
and you won the race.
I just think that that's so cool.
You won the race. So I think everyone needs to know, like we've kind of, bounced around the topic a little bit here, but you managed to beat 200 other people as the last one standing. And it was the craziest thing ever to watch. Those last 4 loops of you coming in with all the other 4 or 5 runners, you guys were coming in with seconds to spare. And how many laps did you finish in first place how many laps did you? It was like 35 in the end or something like that, yeah? I think it was. It was about 35-ish.
Maybe it was 32 to 33, either one of those.
So out of those, say 33 laps that you did do in the end, how many of them were you the first person to finish that lap? A lap?
Yeah.
Do you reckon it was maybe 3 or 4?
You're making my memory really hard. I know it just happened.
We only have an hour and a half.
But
I reckon there would have been only
three or four.
3 or 4. But they were the ones that counted, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I want to get into a little bit of this. Obviously, mind games are a thing in ultra running. A lot of the elites use them. And like I looked at Nigel Hill for the whole race, and he was a gun. He's a beast. He absolutely crushed it the whole time.
And he's so stoic. Like you just don't know whether he's struggling or not.
I'm like, what do I do here?
And it makes you nervous chasing him.
Well, I have a funny story to tell. When we got to the Last Legend location and we were setting up, Brett floated a name.
This is the race director, Brett?
Yeah, Brett, the race director. He floated a name as soon as we got there, and he's like, Nigel Hill. I'm like, what did you just say? Nigel Hill? And I'm like,
oh, no.
Because
don't worry, I thought, oh, no.
Mish, my sister, asked me, are you nervous, Ollie? I'm like, no, I'm pumped. And when he said that, I'm like, oh, and I got back in the car and I went, Mish, I'm a little bit nervous now. So, yeah.
And you should be. Like, Nigel is an amazing runner.
Yeah.
And there was so many other runners right at the end there.
They're great. I didn't.
Shane put in
he surprised me.
He put it. I knew he was fast, but he put in an amazing performance. Liam hung around forever, and I know that he's quick.
Yeah,
right?
He's quick. He's under the radar. I see that 3:35K.
Yeah, there was a Matteo. He was amazing at the end, and then there was one guy at the end. I've got the Frenchie.
Yeah, we just know him as a Frenchie.
The Frenchie, he made you earn it, and you know what? When you said to him that I can't believe you made me go out for that last loop. So to give a bit of context here, so. Obviously, it was a diminishing time event. So, yeah, obviously, it's 2.5K loops, and it went from 30 back down to whatever it was, right? So, at the 11 minutes, there was 2 loops at 11 minutes. I think 4 of you come over the line, and then on the last one, only 3 of you were going to do that last 11-minute loop, and then it was going to be the 10-minute loop. All right. And what ended up happening is that you crossed that line and he was
ahead.
Ahead of them. And then he was about 30 seconds behind. And
I'll run you through my experience with this.
I was looking at, from us watching it, we were like, oh, no, he's not going to get back. And then what happened?
So, I was obviously doing my stuff. I was trying to get water on my head for the.
You were having the 10th shower of the
day. Obviously my bottle, but I'm just glancing over the clock looking, and I'm like, nah, he ain't got it. I'm like, he sprinted. And excuse my French. I went, you bastard. Because he knew, I believe that he knew he wasn't going to get through the next one, but he did it to make me go on the next one.
Yeah, because if you hadn't have got through.
A draw.
It would have been
all
a draw.
3. So he gave me a run for my money, and that was probably the hardest I've ever had to push
Yeah.
in the last lap. I genuinely there was probably two significant hills and one that was a slight up. The first hill, literally within the first 600 meters, I thought I was going to turn around, and I'm like, nah, I can't do that. I
Well,
couldn't do that.
Brett showed me the split after the first K. He goes, "You wouldn't believe it. He's done a 3 minute, I think it was 3 minute 32 first kilometer, which is the biggest hill that you've got to actually go up." And
I was pushing.
I'm like, "Oh my God, he's going to make it back." Because we were all, I was thinking 4 minute Ks, that's going to be hard because you'd come in that previous loop with like 40 seconds to spare, yeah?
Yeah.
So if you had have ran another loop like the previous one, you wouldn't have made it. You wouldn't have made it back.
Yeah, so I'll run you through a little bit of what was going through my head and the strategy. And it was almost like a strategy that just came up on the spot. It wasn't intentional. It was I went through the event. Sorry, I started the event about not really caring. I was like, oh yeah, I'll go. I want to obviously any event enter, I want to win. But it was a very relaxed, chill approach coming into it. And obviously, I was a bit nervous because Nigel Hill was there, but when it got to the end, obviously, like I said before, I'd seen Nigel Hill, he was dominating the whole day. And I heard at the end his splits were like he was consistent with the 12 minutes. And when he got past the 12 minutes and 11 minutes, that's when he probably started to struggle a little bit. But what was happening a little bit, and I hate playing mind games because I feel like a douche, but sometimes you gotta play them.
Well, you got to do the having Ben Burgess on our
Yeah,
podcast. What did
he
he?
actually inspired me a little bit. So go back and listen, but I'll give you a little bit of a teaser.
On the
Basically,
Ben Burgess podcast.
on the Ben Purges podcast, he basically was running in Europe in a race, and this guy was sticking on his back for ages, and he's like, "How am I going to drop him? How am I going to drop him?" Mother Nature kicked in. Massive fog came through on a hill, and he went into the fog, and he maybe had like I'm actually not too sure on the specifics, but he had a little bit of a lead on him, a little bit of a gap, and then he just went, "I'm going to punch it through this fog." Punched it, and there's something in that mental. These mind games are obviously called mind games for a reason, but there's something that just is in that mental when you can't see the person in front of you. You're like, oh, is he 10 seconds in front of me, or is he
10 minutes.
10 minutes? And yeah, so that can get in your head a lot and obviously be detrimental to your race. But coming back to Last Legend, what I would do is I was a fairly fast downhill runner, and all the runners knew that. I remember someone commenting on my downhill running because I was really fast. But what I would do is I didn't want to make a move too early. So I'd run and then I'd stop and walk at the top of the hill. But I felt like I had a vibe, and I might be wrong, so don't quote me on this. And I had a vibe that all the runners just kept running up because there's obviously a great feeling that comes with finishing a lap first. And I think a lot of people wanted to finish that lap first. And seeing me push so hard at the start and then walking, I was intending on trying to trick them to see if I'd blown up.
Yeah.
And I was walking. But realistically, I was just walking because I was having a break.
Yeah, but do you know what you ended up doing when I was watching you do it? You ended up doing the same thing, and you set like a consistency thing. So you would run to the same spot because I'd see you. You run to the same spot on the second hill, and you would walk that hill, walk that part of the hill, and you did it every loop. So everyone kind of got
Didn't
the
know.
gist of it, and they're like, "Oh, he's not stopping because he needs a rest. That's just where he stops." And then has a bit of a, walks it and then runs the rest of it because you get to the top of that hill and it's all flowy downhill.
Yeah. And then this is where, and I actually said in my mind, because Nigel Hill was one of my biggest competitors, and I'm like, right, if I can get Nigel, I've won the race. Like I genuinely thought that, and obviously it was a little bit harder than I thought.
Well, to give context to anyone who doesn't know who Nigel Hill is, he's one of Australia's best ultra runners. He's represented Australia. He's an absolute beast.
One Surf Coast Century.
He's won Surf Coast Century. He's a beast of a runner. Anytime we turn up to an event and we see Nige there, we know that we're going to be in for a tough day.
Yeah.
But it's going to be tough. It's going to be challenging, but it's also going to be something that we're going to be able to, hang our hat on and say, hey, you know what? Uh, we gave it our best, knowing that who we consider to be one of the best runners going around in Australia, he was there. And that's all we want. And that's all I ever want when I'm watching, like when I'm watching you race, I think I know what you want. You want to race against the best, but it hurts because you know you're going to be in for a
Mm.
tough day.
Like, I completely respect Nigel Hill. I think he had an incredible day out there, and he
Yeah.
was so consistent and really was intimidating at points.
Yeah.
But I remember he was poor. He was at the start line, and I just remember him coming through, and I think he was a little bit behind me on that one. And I remember seeing his face come through, and I could see the exhaustion, like just like anyone. But it was specific to Nigel because I made it personal with my not personal, but
Yeah, but
I'm,
because you were focused
I
on
was
him,
focused. I was so
you felt like he was the guy that he was going to be the
yeah.
hardest one. But other people end up popping up, didn't
Yes, yeah, and that took me by surprise. But yes, when Nigel came across looking exhausted, I striked when the iron was hot. I made my move. I ran as hard as I could up the hill on that first one. I bombed it down the downhill because I had my quads were very conditioned for this race. I was bombing downhill. I was running 330s, and I didn't stop at that spot that I walk up on that hill.
Yeah.
I ran it, and that's where I feel like maybe, and I don't like saying maybe because this might not have happened, but maybe it caught people by surprise.
Well, maybe, or do you think maybe people thought, oh, now he means business?
Maybe
So
because I did
that's
mean
a good
business.
way of looking
I
at it.
did mean business. The
But
headphones were in, and
yeah, and you know what? This is what the way you describe that. That is a awesome example of just showing how you've matured as a runner to understand that you need to take opportunities when they come and kind of sit back. Because I watched you a few times with the lead pack, and you would sit off them, and I was thinking, oh, are you nervous or are you? Because your form was great, you were doing really really well. But I'm like, is he nervous? Is he nervous? And I'm like, oh man, I hope he holds on because I'm starting to really struggle myself. And
yeah.
I want to, but then when I drop down, I'm like, well, at least there's still one Caprazak in there.
So what's interesting also about this is that when and you would look and you're like, is you about to make the move? And part of why I was walking as well up that hill is because I was scared. I didn't want to make it too early. And I find it incredible because thinking back to GV 2024, that was a time where I was very impatient with myself, very impatient where, oh, no runners are dropping out. Runners were dropping out.
Yeah.
I was being a very irrational. And this race, I put it all together and I went, no, it's not time. And this was it was one of my best races. And, like Ben Burgess taught me a lot when he came over and he's like, sometimes you just gotta have a day.
Yeah.
And I thought I did a cool one and a cool caption in my Strava file. And I went, I had a day at Ben Burgess.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, man. You've got to be really humble and just soak it in because at the end of the day, they're not all going to be epic days like that. I watched those last 3 or 4 loops unfold, and everyone, the whole crowd that was there, we were just in awe. No one could believe what they were seeing. They were seeing 3 or 4 runners coming in with seconds to spare, going back out, and then coming in and going back out. And when Frenchie come in and made you go out, and knowing that you had to do 4-minute kilometers after 80 kilometers of running, it was going to be, you know what? He left. He said, because he actually went out and then just turned around and walked back. And he said, "You all right, mate? You want it? You're going to have to chase it." And you took off up that hill. And I was just like, oh my God, I don't know whether he's going to be able to. But you had good form. Like you looked strong. Like no doubt it hurt. But you just, you end up pulling
It's
it
the thing I've
off.
been focusing on a lot.
Yeah, and I mean all that 5K training, maybe those last 5Ks of this race is what you'd been training for. Not so much having a 16-minute 5K, which you've been dreaming of, but
I'll
to
get
be
there.
able to, yeah, you'll get it. But to have that last 5K in that race is what won it for you. You just had to race for 9 hours to get there.
A huge motivator for me was I'm always at these events and I'm in awe of what you and some other athletes that you're among do, especially in backyard ultras, because I look and I almost put myself in the head of yours where I'm like, God, that must feel good. Like you're the last ones, and I'm always looking at someone who's pushing like pushing the absolute limit, and I feel a vibe with the crowd, and they're just in awe, and it's my dream. It's my dream to be that person that is everyone's looking upon
Yeah.
and going, "What the hell?"
Yeah, and everyone's because you see it and you want to be that character in that story where there's those people fighting for those positions. You're in the end there, and everyone's in awe of you, and because it feels nice because it's a hero story. At the end of the day, that's all everyone
It's
wants.
a legend.
Yeah, well, it's a last legend story. Well, we got these pretty cool medals too.
They are
Like
epic.
I actually, we're both wearing them. We actually both got a medal. I just didn't get a cup because I didn't come first.
And how's
But
this
yeah,
right? I didn't even know this, but the location of the place is where all the horses stay that are
yes.
really
So
famous.
the living legends. So all the horses that have won like Melbourne Cups and Cox Plates and does that spin around? Does it?
Sure
The
does.
clock thing just spins around. That's pretty cool.
Get
It's
going.
really cool. I'll show you on mine. It actually spins around the time. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, so the Living Legends, so it's amazing, this beautiful woodlands property, but it's all got these beautiful fences everywhere, and it's the best horses that have ever raced in Melbourne Cups, Cox Plates, and all those events, and they live out their years in these beautiful paddocks. But yeah,
I
the
just want,
course was. Let's talk about the course a little bit,
yeah,
right? We've like you had an amazing race, and I'm super proud of you because you the grit and determination that you showed was just out of this freaking world, and everyone and you put it on show, and everyone got to
I
see
sure
it.
did. I dived across the
Oh,
finish
you
line.
dived. It was dramatic. I loved it. It was a definitely a Caprazak moment where we're either
I
getting
was cooked.
wheeled out by an ambulance or we're Supermaning and across
I
the
was
line.
literally shaking at the legs trying to stand on the
Oh,
podium.
you couldn't like,
I couldn't
and
stand.
that's the thing. But you know what? You've got that in you. You've got that ability to send it, and that's what it took. Because you know, on paper, it may look like you only went 2.5 kilometers further than the guy that came second, but to run a 4 minute kilometers for those
Well, it
two and a
wasn't
half
even that. It
k's,
was 3:49
well,
because I
3:49 to be exact. Yes.
sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
You have to
It was
apologize.
in my
Oh,
head.
is that what it was required? 3:49.
No.
Oh,
Well, it was anything under 4, but technically because the course, and this is
ran a
coming
little bit
back,
longer.
ran a tad bit longer by 50 meters. I didn't wanna be shattered by the 7 seconds I miss it by because I go 4 minute
Oh
on the
yeah.
dot, which is why I was pushing so hard at the end and then collapsed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so wanna talk a little bit more about the course.
Yes, let's talk about the course.
It was
I
beautiful.
it was nice, wasn't it? It was
Yeah.
nice. We got a little bit of a windy day towards the end, but it was nice. It was very flowy. The two hills that we talk about, they're not ridiculous amount of hills. Like, well, how much gain did you get in your 85? It was about
Uh,
2,000 meters, wasn't it?
Just under, yeah.
So it's
It's
still
50 meters gain each loop for
yeah
2.5K. So, if if everyone is relating it to their local park run, it's probably 5K is 100 meters gain,
yeah.
which is tough.
Which is tough, which is a fair bit of gain, especially if you're going to try and run it at 4 minute Ks.
Yeah.
So, but it was a little bit of gravel. It was like a bit of a windy track, and then, but it was a really nice course. Heaps of kangaroos
Yeah.
going across, and it was scenic. It was like open scenic, big giant gums and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
you almost got to the back of course as well when there was these trees around you and then would open up to this field. It
Yeah.
was tough though because we didn't have very much like a lot of cloud cover at points. It was a beautiful day,
Yeah.
but it got hot with the sun
Yeah.
beaming down like a laser.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was tough, especially in the open fields. I would try to walk in the shade,
Yeah.
but
We did try to listen to Phil Gore and walk in the shade. Hey.
yeah, yeah,
Someone actually mentioned it to me out on course.
Yeah?
Goes, oh, here's my spot. I walk in the shade. I'm like, that's Phil's Gore.
Just like Phil Gore.
That's like Phil Gore's advice, and he didn't know about it, so he thought he'd come up with it himself,
yeah, that's cool.
which is cool. But yeah, I thought the course was really really nice, and even the setup like that Brett had, it was really cool because like kind of everyone was in at that start finish corral, so everyone was just cheering for everyone as well, and it was a sped up version of some of these longer last man standing events because people were coming in, we're all cheering them, and you could see them because you could see them 300 meters away. You could actually see the person coming, and Brett, the race director, would say if they're not at that stump at a minute and a half to go, they're going to really struggle. And there would be a few people that would really, really push.
Was I at the stump?
I think you got to the stump at a minute 30.
Yep.
And that's when he thought, well, you should have it. And because you were pushing, you managed to get over the line. But if other people weren't there, he was like, oh, if you don't get, there's this big, giant, dead tree stump.
If I'm being honest, looking back at the videos, it doesn't look like I've gone that fast.
That you weren't going that
Yeah,
fast.
I'm like, who's this?
Oh,
who's
no.
this guy?
Well,
that
no,
can
well,
ease
your
diving
form
across the
looked
finish line?
amazing. Like, I think it was great. And like, even seeing the people that were there were people that were going for 5K, for 5Ks, half marathons. It was a really inclusive event. We often say it about backyard ultras that they're a perfect opportunity to run a long distance, like a half marathon or a marathon. This is perfect as well. I really like, and I think with this format, that a lot more people stayed around because the last 2 or 3 people weren't going for another 2 or 3 days. So there was a lot more people at the end, bit of a crowd, everyone, pumping each other on. And some people would just kind of hang around. They're like, I'll hang around for another hour. I'll see how this goes. Because it was exciting, because it was constantly someone was dropping out.
Towards the end,
Every few loops, and then towards the end, it was getting super exciting. But you knew it was going to end as well.
Yeah.
So in a backyard ultra, sometimes you don't know when it's going to end. But you're like, okay, these guys are getting faster. This is going to get harder, and because it was getting harder, it was fun to watch.
I want to give a massive shout out to Brett, the race director. He put us right in the middle of the whole event, and our our tent is very known for, or our gazebo, I should say, is very known for a big standout. I love it when I see it in photos. And even like just getting tops.
You know what? We turned up, he got us our own customized tops. I got Tim on mine, and it's Last Legend. We got a couple of these. It was pretty nice. Like, no one's ever treated us like that before. We don't think that we're all that flash eyes. And then he even put the podcast on over the PA.
I know.
I'm like,
am I
is that Ollie? I'm like, is that Ollie talking? And then I'm like, no, it's not. He put it over the PA, which was cool because he put on some of the bits of our episodes that would have been relevant to people that were there to help them out. And I thought, oh, man, this is amazing.
Gave a massive shout out to us at the start.
At the start, we actually felt like celebrities a little bit, which was really, really nice. It was actually really nice. And the people that come up to us, it was great. I love talking to people out there. And so many people, were coming up and just, saying, great work with the podcast. We love what you're doing with it and stuff like that. It was really, really nice.
Should we talk about passing of the fire torch? I want to do the little.
Well,
I want to do a little animation. So
like we know, it's not a fire torch; it's passing of the baton.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know at what point the baton was going to get passed because whether you became the fastest Caprazak, beating me in the 5K. I mean, you still haven't beaten me in a backyard ultra, but that's old man sport. So I might have to wait. And that last fire torch passing might be in 20 or 30 years' time if backyard ultras are still around. But you beat me at a genuine ultra event that happened to be a last man standing. So I think he's the imaginary fire torch. There you go. He's taking it. You can.
Woo! Should we do another applause? I'm going to do another applause.
You're going to do another bloody applause. Here you go. Let's hear it. Make sure you push it. But maybe accidentally push the boo button. Yeah. I can't wait to edit this till 2 a.m. in the morning and hear the applause that you got there. What's that?
Sorry.
My God.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Sorry, everyone, that my podcast host is a 17-year-old kid. That's why you got the air horn.
If you're listening.
Air horn in
At least maybe I woke people up on their morning runs.
Oh, well, at least you made them laugh.
I'll wake you up.
At least you made them laugh. So it was just cool. All right, I kind of wanted to go and touch on like the most challenging part of the event. I know we said that it was a diminishing time event, but I'll give mine as well. But what was the most challenging part of the event for you? You want to say the diminishing time, don't you?
No, I wanna say the time on feet and having to back up, especially on peaky bits of hills. My heart was in my throat. Hate that feeling. And I just felt like my breathing was out of whack, where I had to bring myself back to the present moment and go, it's okay. So that was a very challenging part for me. The breathing, it was very hard at the peaks of hills, especially when I'm pushing, and especially when Frenchie made me go out for the last loop.
Yeah,
Did
that's
not
right.
want to do that, and it sucked. And that was probably the most challenging bit. It was the most challenging bit because I knew that he wasn't going to go out, and I went, but he gave me a
But are
run
you
for
happy
money.
now? Are you happy that he made
I
you go
actually,
out?
you know what? I actually feel sick, guys. Looking back at video, it makes me feel sick because I just feel the amount that I'm going through.
Yeah.
It makes me feel sick.
Oh,
Look at
I
those
think if you
videos.
reflect over the next couple of days, you'll be
Maybe,
wrapped that he sent you out.
maybe, yeah.
What bit of advice would you give to anyone wanting to try this event, this Last Legend event? Because I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of them start to pop up because they're super. I reckon they're going to be really popular. Brett's gone from, I think he said he had like 80 to 120 to 200 people this year. What's one bit of advice to anyone that's training, maybe a beginner training to do this kind of event? How how would you implement, something in training to simulate what they're going to experience?
I'll talk about the training, but I also want to talk about on the day what you
Yeah,
can do. So in training, it wasn't for both of us. We went into it not really specifically training for the race, but what I found was because I'm training for super fast stuff in the 5K, I did a lot of threshold work, which is working at a very high. Not I say very high. It's working at an intensity that you can hold, but it's hard-ish comfortable.
yeah,
If that makes sense, I know
yeah,
that might be hard to comprehend for some people, but it's hardish comfortable.
yeah,
And what that teaches you is when I'm running 4 minute Ks, it's hard, but it's comfortable at the same time. Oh, maybe not 4 minute Ks, but when I was running the 4:10s to 5 minute, it was hardish comfortable. And I actually felt at ease. I felt cool, calm, and collected. I was told that apart from the last loop when I collapsed and I was coming in, every other loop I looked super strong in terms of form.
yeah.
I tried to hold my form on the end one, but I didn't look like I was hurting. So a lot of these sessions really benefit. Like I benefited from these sessions in terms of being able to hold my form and being able to work at that comfortable, hard spot.
Yeah.
In terms of being in the actual race itself, save the legs. Don't get sucked into banging out a couple 15 minute. I know we did it, but it was our
Yeah,
first time. 15 minute.
but early on, 15 minutes was probably too quick.
Yeah, so don't bang out a couple 15 minute loops when you're on a half an hour loop. Look at the clock and run to the clock
Yeah,
because you will be very surprised how, like we said before, how much a minute can get you.
yeah,
I would look at the clock and go just under.
yeah,
I might not actually change much. Like I think I had a very great race. I would, in my eyes, it's a perfect race for me.
Well, it is the perfect race because you broke the course record and you won. So,
But in saying that, a thing I probably would change is save the legs because if I wanted to push more, if there was someone there that went out for that next loop, it was saving the legs earlier on that would have helped me be able to go out for that second 4 minute.
yeah, I think for me, I think the biggest thing for me that I lacked was speed. So, the whole race was comfortable for me. I felt super comfortable. I never felt like I was pushing. I always felt like I was jogging or kind of in that steady-ish kind of mode. But when it got to a point where, hang on, Tim, you've got to go a little bit harder at this 2.5K. I just didn't have the speed in the legs, and I think if I had have had the speed in the legs, I may have been able to do it. But I just didn't. The speed just wasn't there. I just felt that like I'd built up this fatigue to a point where this is your pace, mate, and you can't go faster than this, and the clock ended up catching me.
Yeah.
So what was the hardest part? What was the hardest part for you for the whole race? did you find?
Like a specific point in
Yeah, in the actual race itself.
I don't want to sound like a broken record, but the bloody last loop,
Yeah.
like, please, I cannot stress this enough. It was the worst experience of my life.
But the best.
Block
The
your
worst,
ears.
the
If you,
worst, but the best.
block your ears if you don't like to hear something gruesome. But I actually went to burp, and yeah, it just didn't come up the right way, and it just went everywhere. But yeah, it was probably up until that point. The heater got to me.
Yeah.
That was probably my last loop where I just kind of let it go.
Do you notice it's funny that we very rarely do we experience that?
Yeah, I felt interesting towards the end where I wasn't feeling great because I was pretty zapped by the heat,
Yeah.
and that was maybe the only thing. Physically, form, I felt so strong, but I was very zapped by the heat, which made me feel a bit sick.
Did you find that it was unlike most events where, say it's a point to point event where it might be 50 Ks, if it gets like you're never pushing harder towards the end of these events, are you? You're always just, you might go harder at the start, but then you're starting to drop off a bit and things like that. At a backyard ultra, obviously, you're never pushing harder, never doing anything like that. Do you think that you've learnt something from this event in terms of what a progressive event, because it is essentially a progressive event. You're getting faster and faster.
Yeah,
Did
looks
you
it looks
learn?
pretty cool on the graph.
Oh, it's going to look great on your graph. But do you think that doing events like this unlocks maybe new gears and maybe it shifts your mentally it shifts you a little bit, where now when you go into an event, you can say to yourself, hang on, I won't go out as fast because I'll trust myself and I know that I can go faster the longer I go. Because it'd feel amazing. Imagine finishing a race, which you did, but a point-to-point race where you're finishing it at 4-minute Ks and you're doing it
Yeah, I
that
agree
way.
with you 1,000% because I was saying to Dad on the way home, it gave me a lot of confidence because I have very high standards for what I want to do next year. I won't say it. I won't put it out there because I'm a very closed person with my goals. I don't want to. Yeah, I get this vibe when I say them, I might not achieve them. So, and when
Yeah.
it's out there, it's out there. But yeah, I have very ambitious goals, and this really just backed up those goals, and it makes me feel so much more confident going into 2026. Are we? Yeah, we are.
Yes, we're going into
2026. Yeah, I know my years,
Yeah.
and yeah, I just think being able to hit those paces towards the end, like I can't fathom 3:32,
Yeah.
like a kilometer. Like I struggle to get that in a 5K sometimes when I'm
Yeah.
really hurting, and I did this after 85 kilometers.
Yeah. Do you
It-
think it's a mental shift? That like it's a really like when I was trying to push to get back in time, I was looking at the time I had to get, and I'm like, if I don't get this time, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm done. Did you think that at the end as well? It's like if I don't get this time, I'm done. That's it. It's all over. So I have to do. There's no choice. There's no. I'm going to back off for a bit, and then I'm going to run harder on
Nah,
the next
yeah,
lap.
you can't do
It's
that.
like you cannot do that. So it's almost like you tell your body, we need to do this because our goal is to either win or finish this loop or whatever it may be. And I'd love to hear the feedback from people that were there. Reach out to us, message us, and we'll talk about it on next week's podcast because I'd love to hear what people's thoughts were on what they experienced, because I reckon it would have been similar. I reckon they pushed and found something that they'd never found before, because like the way I was feeling, I was like, man, how am I getting faster?
On that last loop, I had this drive and grit, and it was almost a bit of arrogance in me, a bit of, I should say drive. I had this drive to prove this Frenchie wrong because I had a vibe from him that he thought I wasn't going to get through the 4-minute loop.
Yeah.
And I just came back and I'm powering through. Oh, I didn't. I didn't power through.
Oh, you looked strong. You were taking off up the hill. There's a reel that we'll release, and we were all cheering for you.
Did you?
And
I
even he was looking at it, and you could see that he's like, I hope that kid gets it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's almost like he has the same mentality as me. You often say you don't want me to cheer on your opponents at races and stuff like that.
It's
But
annoying.
I know the only reason I do that is because I know you're at a developmental stage, and wins are great, but wins that you earn,
Mm.
they make you feel amazing.
Yeah.
And that's why you're so pumped. We can hear it on the podcast, how pumped you are about the event and how wrapped you are that you had this amazing performance. And that's what racing is about. And I'm glad that we get to share it with our audience. And 2 hours after, you come off the course.
Yeah, the only words I was repeating to myself is no draw, no draw, no draw, no draw the whole time on that
Yeah.
lap because it wasn't a thing. It wasn't gonna end like that.
Yeah.
No draw, no
Yeah.
flip and draw.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's not happening. It's not negotiable. And I almost coerced my body into thinking, no,
Yeah.
we're running this.
Yeah, but it's a trust thing too. Like you just trusted that you could get it done, and you know and you knew it was over too. So how
Yeah,
good does that
when I
feel?
got to halfway and I was 3:58, I knew I had to push a little bit harder, but I knew it was fairly downhill
Yeah.
all the way back.
Yeah, that last loop. But I mean, you were like I was said earlier about the stump being there. Like Brett mentioned that stump, and I mean, you were pretty close to that stump. So I didn't know whether you were going to take it out or not. But you know what, man? Congratulations! It was a epic performance, and I reckon that everyone there was super happy for you. And I reckon everyone on this week's episode, when they listen to it, they're going to be super pumped for you as well.
Yeah.
So congratulations!
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. And
As
I
you-
appreciate everyone who was there and supporting us. And a specific example was Liam Henderson, who came out on my last lap. And he just gave me I'm not going to say
a rev up.
He gave me a bloody rev up. And I'm just, like, he just made me yell at myself. I'm like, go for it.
Yeah.
Just go for it. And that's what I said. I'm like, I'm going for it. And I just strided my way through
Yeah.
and got it done.
Yeah,
So
well, it was
thanks,
just
thanks
you-
to Liam Henderson because that was a big pump up
Yeah,
to us.
Liam was pretty cool. It was really nice to chat to out there on course. It was really cool.
That was a great recap on the last legend. I think we covered a lot of things, especially my last lap.
Yeah, we covered a lot on your last lap.
So I think it's time to go into our listener questions.
Yeah, we got a few listener questions this week, which was really cool. The first one we had was, "Am I missing out not having Strava?" So this person talked about, they get pretty good vibes from, listening to podcasts, our one in particular, some Insta and following runners or socials for motivation and Garmin. What are your thoughts? Do you think that you really need Strava? Is that actual social aspect a motivator? Is it worth it?
There's definitely a trade-off with positives and negatives about it. So if you're looking to get motivation, it doesn't seem like they're struggling too much in terms of motivation. But there's a different aspect of motivation from others, belief from others. You'll never find a bad comment on Strava at all. Everyone's always pumping each other up. It's the best platform for that because everyone wants everyone to get better.
Yep.
Problem is the statistics can be good as well, but you can get sucked into it too much.
Do you think it's only the statistics? Because they mentioned that they use Garmin, right? So you get all the statistics there. You can the Garmin graph, and as opposed to the Strava graph.
You don't even get a Garmin graph, I don't think.
Oh, don't you?
Oh, no,
Well,
you're right. You do.
There are like
Yeah.
connections that you have on Garmin. It's not as much a social thing as Strava, but I think it's often with the Strava stuff is that everyone else sees it.
Could be a
So,
hierarchy thing. in a way.
yeah, so you're kind of looking at, am I doing enough or anything like that. Personally, like Ollie, you just ran out of your Strava subscription
Oh, it
anyway.
did me dirty, guys. It seriously did me dirty. The day before the Strava All New Sport review for the year, I said all new. I'm too busy. All new review. Year in sport review for Strava. It ran out. It completely ran out, and it was
mine's
annoying.
still there, and I looked at it. It was great. It's nice to see stats and stuff like that, but I don't think it's the be all end all.
You don't need Strava. You don't need to pay for premium. You need a pair of shoes,
And just get out the door.
some clothing, and you get out the door and you go crush it.
Yeah.
You don't need to tell the whole
Yeah.
world.
Yeah, that's right. And well, we do. And look, I do enjoy it. I actually enjoy seeing other people crush it, and I like typing up on people's things, and just congratulating them because I know how hard it is to get out there. So if you're that way inclined, great, get it. If you're just using it for stats, then Garmin or the Coros app or whatever it may be is plenty. It'd be fine.
Yep.
All right, cool. So what was our next question?
Do you use any breathing techniques while running? Does it change for different speeds and styles of running?
Right. So I've got a funny story for this. Peru, a king of the hill. I remember when every time he come up behind me up a hill, all I would hear was
Steam
and
training.
it was a steam train behind me coming, and like I was just happy to be able to breathe at that point up these hills. So I was just mouth breathing. The benefits of it, I know that they're huge. I've heard it. It's taken over my algorithm about the goat tape and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
you've got a
interested.
different spin
Yeah.
on it. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Well, for me, it's not so much focus on breathing. It's more so like I find it's not really any use. You're not going to be thinking consciously about it when your heart is in your throat running a 5K all out.
yep,
You're not going to go, oh stop, I gotta stop.
yep,
I need to breathe properly.
yeah,
It's
yep,
no, we kind of just breathe. For me, it's a rhythm thing. I can't do it now because I'm not running, but I was definitely doing it on my last lap.
yeah.
And
I thought you said we weren't going to
yeah,
mention the
I'm
last lap
sorry.
anymore.
Yeah, I was doing it along my last lap, and yeah, I might even do a video about it because yeah,
Yeah,
it's cool. It gets you in the rhythm, and it almost matches my cadence at sometimes. And in saying that, there have been, and I did research it a little bit because I wanted to see if there were any benefits of it in performance. It can happen, but it's not like a big heavy percentage hitter. So they talk about every 2 steps breathe in, and then the next 2 sets breathe out, and the same for 3 steps each time. And I just think for me, it's too much in my head. It can get too much in other people's head. But if you like to focus on something like your steps and breathing, it's great. For me, it's just too much, and yeah, I just can't think about my
yeah.
steps
I
and
I think
breathing.
it's
I'm
a
stepping too fast.
it's definitely a personal thing,
Yeah.
and I think I'm going to look into it a little bit more. I have heard that it's got amazing benefits and things like that. If it was if I had any advice to give about although I don't because I haven't tried it, I would. The only time I actually did try it is on easier runs, and I would do it for a minute or two because I actually found it hard. So it's something that you might have to train to reap the benefits of it
Yeah.
because I couldn't go for even an easy 10K run and just nose breathe the whole time.
Mm. Yeah, so
So
it's a slow add on into your training.
yeah,
And just like anything, zero drop shoes, it's a slow add on.
yeah,
Wink, wink. We have a
yes,
funny story to tell on our all new review episode next week.
yeah.
But even with form, a lot of stuff with form, it's a slow
Yeah, it's something
adapting
that you got to
process.
practice. Like a lot of these things you do have to practice. So yeah. So sorry we couldn't be too helpful,
Always
um,
researching.
but yeah, or even if you reach out to Peru from who did King of the Hill, he'll tell you. He'll be more than happy to tell
He'll tell
you.
you like a steam train.
Yeah, he'll tell you that. Yeah, he goes like a steam train with his nose breathing. Of course. Uh, so recap on our Better by Next Week challenges.
Not
So
really a question, but they are wondering.
yeah, so people have been wondering why we haven't on the podcast been posting too much on the Better by Next Week challenges. But the thing is that we do try and get ahead of an episode here and there, depending on whether we've got events or other things coming up.
So we do
So
face challenges.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
and our social media is constantly evolving since I've taken over a little bit. So yeah, we're always trying to get different kinds of content,
yeah,
and maybe the challenges have
yeah.
stopped a little bit.
So
But in saying that, what are we trying
yeah,
to do?
so we are. So if you do jump on Instagram or Facebook, we do try and post it to our stories normally on a Saturday or a Sunday, so you will catch it there. But if you go to betterbynextweek.com.au and sign up to our newsletter, I've been trying to put it on underneath the challenges for the week in the newsletter. There's a little link to the YouTube video that you can watch. So we're going to try and get that more active. We're only a two-man show, so it is tricky to keep up with everything.
Yep.
But we can actually report out on this week's challenges, which my Better by Next Week challenge this week was to run in some marshmallow shoes that I have on a fast run to see whether it makes a difference to my speed. Unfortunately, I didn't do the challenge this week because my legs were cooked
Bow,
from
bow.
yeah, my legs were absolutely cooked from a hill repeat session that I did last week with Ollie that I
Well, they're not
lost.
even repeats.
It was a
You
repeat
repeater.
repeat session. So my quads were absolutely cooked, and I I wasn't able to even train until the end of the week.
Yeah.
So that was really sucky for me, and it wasn't even a speed session. So what I will do, I will actually do 2 challenges next week, whatever challenge you set for me tonight,
Mhm.
and I will do that session next week when I can.
Awesome. Well, my one was to have a little bit of a ritual, and because my legs are a little bit sore as well from the hill repeat, I wasn't able to do it at the start of the week, which is why I implemented it towards the end, and it ended up working out great for me for Last Legend. And what I did was had a 5K warm up, then I did 4 by 500 meter repeats at 3:15 pace and under, and then 5 kilometer cool down. That is a really good session, and I would encourage a lot of people to do it. Maybe not so close because I did it 2 days before, and obviously don't go chasing 3:15s if it's not your you haven't discovered that gear yet. I would even mention
So what kind of effort?
an effort, like I said before, it's a comfortable hard effort.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's not supposed to be so strenuous, so demanding on your body. It's supposed to be a nice little tick over of the legs, get the legs moving. And it was a great way to look back when I'm running faster paces in Last Legend to be able to get that kick into that next gear if I really needed to do a little sprint finish
Yeah.
and power through, which I did not do.
Yeah. And just for the viewers, a little bit of discretion. Ollie's only 17, so his recovery from a session like that is okay for 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
For the older gentleman like me, I would be doing that event, that kind of a session, maybe on a Sunday or a Monday before the week of the event.
I did not call Dad older.
Yeah, that's right. You didn't.
I've been getting a couple comments of people saying, "You're calling your dad old. He's
Yeah.
not even old and I'm older. What are you trying to
Yeah.
say,
See,
Ollie?"
so you're
But
offending
I'm
our
not.
listeners
Yeah, but
by
I'm
calling
not
me
saying
old.
it anymore.
But that's all right. Well, I know that you're not, but yeah, right. But yeah.
We'll continue.
Essentially, yeah, we'll continue. I lost my train of thought
Yeah,
there.
sorry.
But yeah, so yeah, maybe earlier on in the week and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. But if anyone wants to reach out to us, let us know how they went on their Better By Next Week
Always
challenges.
interested.
Always interested. We'll mention it on the podcast, and let everyone know how everyone else is going.
Yeah.
So. Our last listener question, we actually didn't put a call out for listener questions. These ones were kind of came in just randomly. So maybe this week we'll put out some
Yeah, we
more.
were a little bit busy with the promotion stuff.
With all that stuff. So and with the promotion stuff, we do apologize that we were putting it all out there because we did want to say thank you to all the brands, but we
Yeah.
had so much stuff to give away, and we wanted to let everyone know what it was.
Well, we did that.
Yeah, we definitely did that. So we'll go back to normal viewing of Ollie's epic reels hopefully this week. So the last one, last question we had, it was ran a 21K in new shoes and thick socks. I won't mention the brand of the socks, but they weren't toe socks. What's your blister management and sock choices? So we'll give a little bit of a teaser for next week.
We have said this before on what we do, but yeah, we'll give a teaser on what we do as well. What we have done in the lead up to this race.
Yeah. So normally what we do is we tape our toes and things like that. That's not a really, you can't really do that for training sessions, even things to maybe even a 21K event.
In
But
saying that though, tape hot spots that you've had previously. If you know that you have had a blister that's reoccurring for me, it is on my big toe, but I actually didn't get one
Yeah.
after the last legend. But making sure that you're putting tape on there, even blisters on the bottom of your feet for training sessions.
yes, 100%. We actually had relay socks, and
Oh,
I've got
just gonna
mine
stick 'em in.
mine now.
Oh,
I'm
they're
actually trying to get
stinky.
them on the camera. There you go. They're my stinky
Uh,
socks from today that I've still got on. I should have changed them, but the relay socks were fantastic for Last Legend,
Yeah.
which we'll talk about more next week. And same as the Gooch Goo, those guys sent us some anti-chafe cream. And
What's the funny story?
what's that?
With the BG.
Oh, yeah. So they sent us a box of the Gooch Goo, and when I mentioned that we wanted to, use them on the all new review, they actually said to me that I said that we use Body Glide, and they sent us a pack saying we're going to kick Body Glide's ass when you when you use this stuff, and I'll give you a teaser. It was actually fantastic today. The Gooch Goo. So same deal. Put it on your feet. It is a anti-chafe cream and stuff like that. Lubes up. Put it in spots that you get hot spots. Put the toe socks straight over the top, and you should be good to go. It worked fantastic for us. So that's our
Don't put the lubricant on before you put tape on.
yeah. Don't put the goose screw on your feet before
And
and then
and if
decide
you
that you want to
do
put
need
tape.
to suddenly you do get a blister because things go wrong, making sure you're wiping down the area properly.
Yeah, give it a clean, make sure it's not sweaty and stuff like that, and then yeah, then you can tape over it.
Yep.
So that is our blister management and sock choices that we'll use today. And my feet are fantastic. Yours, I'm pretty sure you're pretty happy with what happened there.
Yep.
You ended
Yeah,
up
well,
winning the
I did a
race.
video, so
Yeah, so you did a video. We might release that. So that's awesome. Okay, so my don't quote me on that for this week is I don't run to add days to my life. I run to add life to my days. And today was a perfect example of that. We got together as a family. Me and you got to run. Your mum and your sister got to cruise, and we had the most amazing day. Like, I mean, I was super happy with my performance. I was super proud of yours. You came first. You won. You ran against men, and you just absolutely knocked it out of the park. And it was all based around running and running for our family. It enriches our life and I think that it can do that for a lot of other people. It doesn't just have to be events. It can be just going out for a 1K run, 2K run, but taking that first step and introducing running or whatever other sport it may be, you'll find that you'll find your people. People are super motivating. You know, everyone's always pumped up, and it's just a great way. Like we had an amazing day today, and you know I'll remember that for the end of days.
Mhm.
So that's my quote for the week.
Well, my don't quote me on that. I said that right. I usually say
Yes.
this. My don't quote me on that was your boos mean nothing to me. I've seen what you've cheered for. This is from Rick and Morty. And it almost puts you on an outside perspective where you're not on a superior level of the person who is maybe attacking you, but it gives you a different frame of ideas where it's like it's him that person might be attacking you, but it's not personal. It's just that person is not for you. That and I learned so much from Last Legend is that the amount of people that are cheering, not booing, but cheering for many people, like achievements as first place and the person who first got out. Everybody's cheering, and that's what we should be all doing. And it's I think that this quote is about finding your people because specifically we talked about this before. It's like why would you care what someone has to say about you when they're cheering or liking something on social media where someone's stepping on a nail?
Yeah.
What? Why? Why would you
Yeah.
like that? It's rude. And don't get me wrong, we all have a little doom scroll everything. And we have ourselves in a vulnerable position, but you need to be seeking.
The people that are cheering for you, like the cheering not only for you, but are happy for you and happy for themselves. And I think that when you do see someone that's booing at someone, you got to ask yourself, why are you doing that? So I think
Again, it puts you on that outside
yeah, it gives you
perspective.
for it allows you to look at a situation from an outside perspective, and I mean it's never we always talk about it. It's never being better than anyone because no one's better than anyone. I'm as good as
No one has this life thing figured out.
yeah,
It's
no one's got life figured out, and then they're like, "Oh, I come from this superior kind of position." But you've got to ask yourself, why is this person booing for these other at these other people? And you know, through the running community, we're super lucky. Or we don't understand. I don't think we understand how lucky we really are. The running community, the trail running community that we're kind of ingrained in. They're a special
yeah,
bunch of people that are all just wanting everyone to do really well. Is going back to the Strava thing, like everyone's always pumped for everyone else,
yeah.
you know, and it's awesome. And I really do like that quote, and I'm glad that you brought it up because it's important. It's something that's close to our hearts, you know, that we do like to cheer for people and um, people that are booing. They're not bad people. They just maybe they just don't see that
Understand.
they or yeah they don't understand or they don't see that we're all about motivating people and enjoying the days like we had
You
today,
you'll
which is
live You'll live a happier life understanding that you're not seeking validation from other people that are
And
booing.
that's probably the underlying message to that too. It's like, don't worry about the booze, you know, focus on the people that are cheering for you,
Mm.
because often the people that are booing, the things that they're cheering for are probably not things that you're really all that interested
Yeah,
in.
yeah, that's
So
right. Find your
that's a probably,
people.
yeah, that's right. So how about we bring this one across the finish line
Yeah,
and get into our Better by Next Week challenges.
good idea.
All right. Do you want me to go first?
Sure.
All right. So I come up with this one on the way home. So I didn't have it prepared. I came up with this one on the way home because
Well,
you
we
were,
both didn't have ours prepared, really.
yeah,
We
that's
just
right.
had to think of it.
Yeah, but you kind of said a few things that I thought, you know what, this is a perfect opportunity to use this challenge on you, and for our listeners as well. And it's all about soaking it in. Like, I really want you to soak in what happened today, because you've mentioned on the podcast a few times about how disappointed you were in your GV performance, although it was another world record breaking performance. But you and yourself, you weren't too happy. And I thought you should have just soaked it in then, but this is a perfect opportunity to look at your performance today. You know, you won, you competed against men, you finished off super strong. I want you to take the week to
Tumbles
soak.
over the line.
You tumbled over the line, to soak it all in and really enjoy what you achieved, because it was absolutely amazing. Everyone was in awe of what you pulled out, especially in the last few laps where
So we
it got
promised we weren't going
hot.
to talk about it.
No, but when it got hot in the kitchen, you managed to, stay calm and collected, and that you need to soak that up. And for our listeners, I want them to look at something that either is happening to them today or happened over the weekend or is happening during the week, and really soak it in. And it could be just a simple thing. It could be, being super grateful that, you've seen your son do something pretty cool, or you did something epic. It just soak all that in, and just put a smile on your face and go, that's awesome. I'm glad of
We
that.
take for granted, and which is why I think this podcast doing it now is so special because the time passes and you forget those feelings if you don't soak it up properly. So I think this is actually the perfect time, even though my legs are actually really sore sitting in this
Yeah.
position.
Yep.
Can't wait to hop up and give a little bit of a stretch. I think it was a really good opportunity to share this with
Yeah.
everyone. So on that note, I had a similar, not similar, but I gained this challenge for you from our experience this weekend, and it was all about just I just really appreciate like everybody who was there today, and yeah, like I mentioned before with Liam, I just appreciated the pump up, and I just appreciated everyone just building together and pushing everyone's limits. It was an incredible experience to be a part of. So my Better by Next Week challenge for you this week is to call that person. I know it's been similar in the past weeks, but call that person and tell them, sorry, I'll just take 2 seconds of your time. I just really appreciate you. And say why. Because it'll not only make your day, but it'll make their day. And you'll build that connection a lot more stronger. And obviously at these events, we're building these great connections, but I think we need to focus on outside of the events. We need to build more connections
Yep.
with other people. So I think that's a good opportunity to really better friendships, better
Yeah.
family relationships.
Yeah, I think that you do tend to build really nice relationships with people when you open up and say, "Hey, look, I'm grateful for having you in my life." So, yeah, I think I'll definitely take that challenge head on, and I think our listeners could probably take a lot from that as well. Looking at the people in your life, and whether you call or talk to one person, or you decide to do that every day and do it 7 times, and be appreciative of 7 people in your life, and just calling them, or walking up to them and say, "Hey, look, 2 minutes of your time. I'm
Because
actually looking
we
forward
do
to
have
that."
people out there that we should probably say we
Yeah,
appreciate.
because there's so many people. Like, I mean, I'm so grateful. Like, I could just start with Brett, from Trails Plus, who was the race director today. He bent over backwards for us to, have an awesome spot at the event. Just the chats that we had the night before about life, about what he thought of our podcast, what he thought of us, and I'm super grateful to have people like that in my life. and to be able to experience life with and have those relationships.
Yeah.
So I guess
Great note to end it on.
yeah, we'll end it on that note. And look, thank you so much for listening.
Five star rating.
Yeah, Ollie wants his 5-star rating on Spotify,
Please,
but
please.
you know, I know it's been a quick fire podcast, and there's been a heap of energy in here. We've brought a hell of a lot of
I
energy in here.
know, I
We've
can't
just
believe we have this much energy.
yeah, we have we had some
What
energy
is it?
left over.
11:14 at night.
Yeah, it's pretty late. I've got some editing to do so that this thing can come out by 5 o'clock in the morning.
So we hope you enjoy.
Yeah, we really hope that you enjoy, and yeah, like, share, and subscribe to the podcast, because it does really help us build the community and allows us to reach out to more people. So thanks heaps for listening, and you know, crush your runs this week, and we'll see you next week on the all new review, which is going to be a massive, massive episode.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.